Michelle, welcome to the Scenic Route podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you so much for coming, and I feel I need to add a disclaimer before we start that Michelle is a part of my trusted team of physician, therapists, counselors, coaches that I've curated over the years. And so if ever you feel like, how does she know? She knows because we've been working together. And I've invited Michelle over because she recently posted something on LinkedIn that I wanted to bring to all my Scenic Route listeners because I think it's really, really resonating with me and I think with a lot of you in these like precarious times that we find ourselves in. And Michelle, you were posting something very profound, like we have to kind of like collectively or individually as well move from having a body to being a body. And I really had to sit with this for a moment because our language and our cultural emphasis is so much on having a body instead of being a body. So how what is the key difference for you? Where's the distinction between having a body over or versus being a body, and how does this impact our relationship we have with ourselves and our mental health?
Thank you,
You did
Jenny,
not come for easy questions
for
here.
this really small question. But maybe I will also start large and then focusing in. I
Of
think that
course.
this distinction between having and being, or this separation, then we can observe, we find it a bit everywhere. It's not just
Mm-hmm.
within ourselves, but we have a relationship, we have a partner, we have kids, and then sometimes we become a bit too
Mm-hmm.
centered in possession on having, and with human beings and other beings is very much, I would say, maybe it's more important about being. In your case, being a mother, being a
Mm-hmm.
partner, being a friend. And then when we, as you see, when we sit with this difference, very intuitively we notice that there is not the same. I
Mm-hmm.
have a bunch of friends, or I am a good friend. The implications are very different.
Mm-hmm.
And in the relationship with ourselves, I really love when you use this term relationship, because it's also what I wanted to point out, is then we can go around the fact that we have a body and then allow us to go to work, to do stuff, to think, to work, to shower, to put makeup and jewelry and dress, is one aspect of being alive, and the other is what do we feel and what do we perceive through the whole body. And this is a completely different
Mm-hmm.
experience. Theoretically, the mind and the rest of the body should be aligned and work together. But in our current society, the mind gets so much inputs, and we know all about what we should do, how long, blah, blah, blah. Then we kind of forget to check in if it's actually is true for us, if we feel it in this way, if it is working for us. This is a personal experience, then it's not a recipe, and then it can
Mm-hmm.
be quite confusing for people. At least this is what I notice in my practice, because you know what you should do, and then the personal experience is talking about something very different.
Mm. This is
So, i-
Yeah, no, please go.
no, no, go, you.
No, no, it's really interesting, kind of this concept of cognitive intelligence and somatic intelligence, right?
Exactly.
And I know this was a really hard one for me as well because I was able to rely so much on my cognitive intelligence for it. I mean, I'm thankful for it and it got me to where I am. And it was hard to like learn how to balance things again.
Yeah, I mean, you will also notice that I'm using in my language a dichotomy like we have a head or a mind and a body. Actually, we are one. As I
Mm,
said at the beginning, they should work together. Our mind has this very nice tendency, she tries to protect us.
mm-hmm,
And then normally the body often signalate things that are a bit not only uncomfortable, but the uncomfortable part is the more difficult to welcome. So when we don't feel so well, one easy strategy for the mind is to ignore. We put it by side and then we continue to function, especially when we have obligation or we feel we have obligation. We want to be a good employees, we want to succeed at work, and we feel then it's better to feel to look strong and reliable and not to show vulnerabilities. All these kind of things are very
mm-hmm.
true, by the way. So one strategy that many of us apply, me included, is to say, emotional or difficult feeling, we put it by side, we deal with them after. And then
And
this,
after never comes.
and then after never comes.
Yeah.
And then we don't, we get out of the practice to assess how is going, what is going on inside us, and then we cumulate things. And
Mm,
it can be very, very uncomfortable after a while.
mm,
So some people carry also, let's say, very bad experiences, traumatic experiences, abusive experiences, but also the fact to accumulate the daily base stresses or pressure, depending on what kind of type you are, can be very, very, very yeah, stressful for the body
mm,
physically.
mm-hmm. I think this is a really important point. We usually talk about, rightly so, also about really traumatic experiences. And it's good that we have more, they are more in our public conscious. And I see it also with my clients that they're kind of like, oh, but I'm not feeling well. And but I haven't had anything traumatic happen, right? Like I there wasn't maybe obvious abuse in my childhood or from past employers or anything. So I don't even know why I feel like this. And I think this is so important that you said that, right? It's the accumulation of years of kind of like these micro traumatic experiences that kind of like build up, and then you're suddenly like, why do I feel like this? Nothing happened, right? Yeah.
It's also a bit the irony of having a mind. When people say this, nothing happened, I should not feel like this, is like, okay, this assessment is a bit bizarre.
It's the mind surely talking.
But
Yeah.
but is also indicated that in ourselves we have blind spot and it's not so easy. For example, for many people it's difficult to answer the question, what do you need to recover your energy, for example?
Hmm.
And honestly, it's not so easy to answer this question. And people have to really think. And the most sad is when they realize, actually, I don't know what do I need.
Why
I
do
know
you think
what
that
I...
is?
Hmm?
Why do you think it is so hard for so many of us to answer this question?
I think that, I mean, for many, especially women, but also men, we are so focusing on what we need to do, then
Mm,
we mix up what we need to do for outside with what we need to do for inside.
mm-hmm,
And it's not the same. You
mm,
can be extremely rewarded to be a good employee, to take care of your family, to do everything on the script, and still not feeling well at the end of the day.
mm.
And also this is confusing because people say, hey, everybody says then I'm working well, then I'm a super mother, a super partner, a super daughter, and then why I don't feel well. I mean, it is really confusing
Hmm.
and unsettling.
Yeah, because you're putting in a lot of effort, you're trying really hard, you're think, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but this feels like this is the playbook. Those are the rules. And if I follow the rules, I mean, we've been told this, most of us as children, if you do well in school, you get a good job, you feel good, you feel happy, you have money, right? Um, it has been reinforced through our education system, and so we feel we have this playbook, we play by the rules, we're being good mothers, good daughters, good employees, good anything, but our lives don't feel good.
Yes.
So, how do we start untangling this mess?
So we can, I think that the basic, really, really basic
Mm-hmm.
is normally is to make an assessment, a physical assessment. And the first question is why we feel tense. If everything is going well, then the body should respond to these um, facts
Mm-hmm.
by being relaxed. But
Mm-hmm.
often doesn't happen. And I think this is always a good start in a self-reflection or changing the how we think about ourselves with this question, why I'm tense, why am I stressed, why am I under pressure? And this allow to open another way of thinking about ourselves in a more personal way.
Mm-hmm. Do we?
Then I give you just a few examples.
Mm-hmm.
For example, then we can notice that for many people, the option then you may disappointing someone is absolutely unbearable.
Mm-hmm.
The option of making mistakes is like I'm dying on the spot.
Mm-hmm.
The option to say no, I cannot, is even not an option actually in the script.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to see actually I feel like I can only, let's say, give or perform. And of course, then this cannot be forever.
Mm-hmm.
Energy cannot only flow outside.
Mm-hmm. Has to, you have to replenish
Yes.
as well. Do we also have to go back on, I feel, yes, when you say, okay, yeah, you notice when you feel tension, but I would challenge, do people actually, do we actually realize when we feel tension? Right? But maybe
Depends.
tension is a bad example, but do we actually feel, do we actually take enough time to feel what we feel? And can we like classify what we feel? Like, do we have the right language to articulate why this tension might be, or if we are tired, or if it's fatigue, or like, how can we make sense of all these things?
I
Right?
mean, that is it's not so easy. It's true. I would say this is the advantage of having a body.
Mm-hmm.
Then the body will produce, let's say, symptoms or sensation that will indicate us,
Mm-hmm.
can I say I'm relaxed or not? So you have all the physical symptoms or experiences.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned being always tired, being exhausted. Then
Mm-hmm.
you have all the sensations connecting with pain, headaches, muscle aches, problem in digestion, not sleeping well,
Mm-hmm.
not digesting well. All the basic things. Then there are other aspects like, are you moving enough? Are you
Mm-hmm.
taking care of eating well enough and drinking enough, I don't know, water, tea.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that now we have to be, how to say, dogmatic about what we eat or how we drink, but it's just a way of reflecting about how much time
Am I
we,
nourishing
yes,
myself? Mm,
this is one part. And the second is everything emotionally. Are you joyful in your life? Do
mm,
you have pleasures in your life? You dedicate so much to job, family. Do you feel the sense of love and rewarding and being considerated?
mm-hmm.
And then this can be difficult, but is also a way of saying, yeah, actually I'm giving so much and I have the impression that I'm taking for granted. This is
Yeah.
for many women is
Yeah, I feel this strongly resonates. I'm like, we feel there's very little reciprocity, and we're giving out so much with very little in it return. Uh, and sometimes it's also we can change that, and if we cannot change that, we have to, I don't know, move to more drastic measures.
yes, but sometimes just to acknowledge, because we said before,
Mm-hmm.
from being a body means to listen what the body send up as information, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes just to sit down a moment and say, actually, I'm not so satisfied and something is missing. At least we have the chance to 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 do something, to try something.
Mm-hmm.
And then is also a way of investing our energy in a different way for ourselves
Yeah. And
or
I think you said
for the people we love.
yeah, true. True. What the work we do ripples outwards into our children, our family, our friends, our
Mhm.
society. I think you said a good point. Like you said, okay, we you need to sit down and listen. And isn't that something a lot of us struggle with, like, per se? I think we need in learning to or relearning to understand our body's signals, we need to slow way more down than what we might be comfortable with.
Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
Absolutely. I have also to say this is my personal experience. I find it extremely difficult to do it alone, to have someone. I mean, someone can be a therapist
Mm-hmm.
like me, but can be, I don't know, everybody able to just give you the space to express something, and then you can say it and feel it and integrate it and embody it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are conditions that are not so obvious in our society today.
Mm-hmm.
Think that everybody has this frustrating experience to go to a friend and say, oh, this happened to the work, and then everybody say, you should not care.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm caring. No, but don't forget about this. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have this problem with my partner. Oh, men's are all men are all the same. Say, okay, thank you. What I do is the
Yeah,
one I
yes.
home.
Yes. This is an interesting point. At the same, like, some we're validating, but not really validating how others are feeling.
Yes,
Why do you
because
think that
it's,
is?
it's, it's really the fact of feeling
Mm-hmm.
something. Also, when you share with a friend something difficult, it means that this friend in this moment needs to feel what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Being,
Yeah, I've really struggled with this because I immediately jumped into problem solving mode, right? Or like, okay, you feel bad, how can I fix this for you, right? And now I've really started to, when someone was sharing something with me, I've really started like, listen, do would you like my support as just kind of like a space to dump it and process it? Or would you like my support in, like, finding a tangible right now next step solution? So just that we're kind of clear and I'm not like jumping ahead when all you need is witnessing someone, having someone to witness and to process with.
yeah, this is a very good practice. If I may add something,
Yeah, please, please. This is all work in progress because I just me of sometimes not reading social cues, right?
I think what you say is a very, very practical way of position ourselves for someone else. But we can also practice something for ourselves is to feel what the person is saying. Because normally, very often, what the person share with us, we have experiences about that.
Mm-hmm.
Frustration, pain, feeling not recognized or not valued. We have personal experiences. And then it gives us the chance to quick tap in ourselves on the same experience, and there is nothing to say. Say yes,
I
I
know it sucks.
understand. And then you can say, if you would like to have my expertise when this
Yeah, I'm
happened to
happy to
me.
help now or in the future. This is just bringing up something, and I feel maybe also a part of this why I feel people our age group, and I mean Gen Z, like Gen Zs and Alphas, they hopefully will have other issues to deal with, but this whole jumping into fixing mode or oh it's not that bad, just move on, right? I remember when I don't know, when I was a kid, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and I would like scrape my knee. Like the thing I'd heard is like, oh, that's not so bad. I Yeah, that's not so bad. Like, no need to cry about this. Let's move on, right? Um, so this all of this kind of like, I mean, yeah, it's very a practical thing to move forward on because you need to get on with your day and like it does this now, but it's not very validating of your emotions. So it all started very early on, I suppose, for most of us.
Yes, and it's also problematic because we learn this self-assessment through the assessment of our parents, normally the mother or
Mm,
the caretaking. And then when they say whatever you feel physically, emotionally is nothing, is again is getting confusing because you
mm-hmm,
get in your head the information, is not important. I should not feel what I'm feeling.
mm-hmm,
And then what we do, we do something with our body. Normally the muscles are involved, the breathing is involved in order not to feel what we are actually feeling.
mm-hmm,
I think this is a good experience. By the way, making a big drama is the same
mm-hmm,
because also, oh my God, now I did something and
mm-hmm,
everybody is panicking. So also not
mm-hmm.
good. But to say yes, it's painful. Now we do something for the knee,
Yeah,
kiss, hug, and now we go because
yeah.
yeah, we took care of this, the outside, the inside.
Mm.
I don't know if I can use this expression. Shit happened.
Yeah, yeah,
And
we
then
yeah.
we
We have
continue.
said worse on this podcast. But it's so true, right? And especially feel as all people who grew up to be being socialized as women, we always hear this like, oh, you're too much, this is too emotional, you're too emotional, and right, you're raising your voice for something that is important to you. You might not understand in the moment why, but something is triggering you and you're like, no. And then you often get this response of too emotional, too loud, too aggressive, too whatever.
Not enough nice, not
Yeah,
enough polite.
yeah. So we really need to start looking at this and dissecting this and relearning to trust the signals our bodies are sending. Like that, if we feel anger or if we feel resentment or if we feel tension, to really be like, okay, my body's really saying I'm not okay with this, whatever this is, but I'm not okay. No. Mm.
Yeah, in a certain way, I think that many people, maybe all of us, but sure many people find themselves in an adult age, then have to learn how to exactly give space to a part of the personal experiences that was always suppressed. I guess for many men is how to allow emotional pain or vulnerability
Yeah.
without having the impression that now they are falling apart and then they are not, they are a completely failure, or I don't know exactly what is the experience that may
Mhm.
be for different person. And it can be extremely, extremely difficult because we build ourselves in a way, and when we
Mhm.
need to change it physically and not only emotionally, is really a body transformation. It can be very, very, very difficult. For
Yeah.
many women, just the idea to say, now I have to go to my family and say no, they struggle like hell. And they realize then it's not connecting with others, it's really
Mhm.
connected with them.
Mhm.
Then others also don't help because it's very nice to have someone doing everything at home. And it's annoying when
Sure.
this
It's very
person comes and
comfortable.
say, from now on, please, you wash your clothes, you help in the kitchen. Once a week, you cook dinner because I'm also working and I have other things to do.
Mhm.
And then you will have frictions.
Yeah.
Yes, and
How do
it can be unpleasant.
That's another thing. I'm glad that you bring the unpleasantness up. Okay. Okay, I want to come back to the unpleasantness later.
Okay.
To because this is very, very important. Um, but it's yes, right. We have to expect friction if we change something. The change process in itself will not be pleasant. Um, Most likely. 99.9% of all the time.
I cannot sell it in a different way. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's right. It's okay. Um, I cannot neither. But how can we if how can we start to practice this, right? I've there surely there are things where you're like when you've listened to this, I'm sure some of you had already like in there had mental imagery of situations where you're like, yeah, I really would like to change this. I'm really, I don't know, like my partner to pick up the kids from daycare or to cook dinner or wash dishes or whatever. Um, and that thing, as you've said, it can feel overwhelming. Is there a way to kind of practice like taking teeny tiny steps so that we can ask for the big thing? Or do we just have to suck it up and ask for the big thing?
Let's say then for practical and strategical to say thinking, the small steps are easier. Some people are very explosive and they would go in big changes, but most of us are they need a
Mm-hmm.
small step. Otherwise, we would not be able to hold the whole situation, and then it
Mm-hmm.
is backfire against us, and this is not the aim. But if you are working or you want to work on this by yourself, I would recommend two things. One is to focus on one situation.
Mm-hmm.
And the second, once then you have the situation, is to just train yourself to give yourself legitimate about what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you say, I would like my partner, then is also the father or the mother of my kids, to be more involved in, for example, going to the kita or the school and have
Mm-hmm.
them. Uh, then you can say, then maybe you already talk about this and he already explained why this is not possible. And then one way to work on this is first just to sit down and the feel what you feel.
Mm-hmm.
Then it means then you try to be relaxed, to breathe, to recognize this kind of pain until you notice that your body is not so much under pressure or tension and it can be a
Mm-hmm.
bit more relaxed. Now we are talking about being relaxed with things that are really, really not easy.
Mm-hmm.
Frustration, feeling taken advantage of, feeling that you did the bigger mistake of your life. I mean, can be very, very tough. The only thing that this I can promise you, once then we allow, they give the legitimation to those kind of things, they start to change.
Also, the
Very,
moment we say, I, I don't know, I acknowledge that I feel this tension or this anger, that moment it will shift.
yes, very, very often, a certain moment, they will, something will start to change in the body.
Mm,
This, after this, I always recommend to try some actions.
hmm
And this also is very unpleasant because normally it means then you have to have a kind of fight for your
Yeah.
for your needs and your rights.
hmm
You don't have. You can also say, actually, I now acknowledge that in this I am alone. I cry my eyes out, and okay.
Yeah, or maybe
Uh,
this is also there is no solution in this season, right? And
Example.
maybe, I mean, maybe it's just not possible, right? Maybe this month, but maybe next month, right? Like, or once something has, I mean, yes, maybe when your children are little or very little, they might depend more on the mother, depending on whatever, gazillions of reasons. And that's okay if you know this is the season we're in.
Yes. Then sometimes we have also to remind. Then maybe we want something from a specific person because in our head he or she must do it. But maybe there are other people that are willing to do it. Or
Mm,
as often is happening now in a city like Zurich, you can say, okay, I pay someone or ask other mothers. And
mm-hmm,
then once I am the one picking up three kids and another time is someone else. So it means then once in the week, I will have a bit more time for the things I need to do.
mm-hmm.
So because also the working with emotions is to nourish what we think and how we think in
Yeah,
order to expand, not to become more fixated with the fact that our partner is not doing what we need.
yeah. So kind of like also release our expectations of what a specific person needs to provide for us.
Yes.
Mm. This brings me to another um point I often read. I mean, if you've listened to this podcast, I'm an intersectional feminist. Like this is I'm harping on about this on and on and on and on. Um there's however a topic that sometimes comes up when I'm like on social media listening to other people and comments and stuff where I'm kind of like torn. And I would like to hear expertise because it fits perfectly into this, right? This is this kind of thing of it, placing expectations on partnership. And the context is like very much of these, oh, if I have to ask him to do this, it's not real support, right? It's not taking things off my mental load. I kind of want him to know that he should do this. And I get where this is coming from. And at the same time, I think this is incredibly a dangerously slippery road. So what what's your take on this? On us magically knowing what our partners want in our heads so we can like yes.
And this is one of the funniest
Yeah.
things happening. Then you find yourself having experiences, all your clients saying the same, is not possible, then he doesn't see it. Women,
Yeah.
yes, it's
But
possible.
how can he not see that like the laundry needs to be done? There are no clean clothes in the closet. There's a huge pile of laundry. Hmm.
So, but this is also interesting because when this happen, we are in the head.
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious then he is wrong, then this is clear and it's not possible if he's not connecting with bad will. But this is all in the head. The question is why it's so difficult to go to the person that said, he will love you for the rest of his life, to say, man, I would need you to do this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is much more interesting because we end up doing it when we are already about to strangle the fucking bastard, but this is too late. Why we didn't do it at the beginning? Why is so difficult? And this is much more interesting for women to say, huh, why is so difficult to take responsibility and say, this is what I need?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
cannot
that's
now
beautiful.
relax
Yes.
on the couch because other needs are there in a family of two, three, four, five, maybe more if you have animals. And voila, you need to take care.
Yeah.
It's difficult because we have experiences normally with parents or family members, and those are the moment of conflicts. So we avoid the conflicts, we swallow, and then we explode. Or we
Yeah.
become resentful and distant and
Yeah.
angry. And the guy still don't get it, what is wrong. Then he
Yeah.
comes and asks, and what happened? Bah!
Yeah. Like I think it's really beautiful that you've raised this, right? Like it's we we have to it gives like this reframe of, oh, it's actually way more interesting to ask why we as women have such a hard time saying, I need you to do this. It gives us way much of a shared way forward. Then why doesn't he know this? I like this feels like a cul-de-sac. Like it's not going anywhere, right? It goes down to shame and blame. And yes, are there a gazillion of men who should do fucking more at home? Yes, absolutely. But I don't know, marinating in this, it doesn't feel all that interesting because it doesn't really give us anywhere. And as you've said, when suddenly you've always been doing the laundry and suddenly you're like exploding over doing the laundry, I can't, like, I can be compassionate and see how someone else who has had the laundry taken care of is like, huh? What happened now? And to kind of like bridge this gap. So I really think, yeah, this reframe is really interesting to be more like, oh, why is it then so hard for you to stand up for what you need in this moment?
And if I may reconnect with our
Yeah.
topic, is also a way of being a body. It means then you can focus on say, I really noticed and this is what I need. This is the frustrations I experiencing. And
Mm-hmm.
by focusing on something that is more personal, it is also taking away pressure on why the other person is so stupid not to see it. And is a way also to take more responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And if there is a problem, there is it is impossible to get to work together on that. At least you notice soon enough, then you can develop other strategies instead of deplete completely your energy by being the cleaning lady at your house or whatever is the
Yeah,
situation.
yeah. Yeah, I think it opens up the possibility for other solutions for sure.
And the work is the same because also something that I hear so much. I mean, women noticing everything going on in the office, how people are feeling emotionally, giving support,
Mm-hmm.
being there when someone else is in trouble, helping and supporting in any kind of way. Then at the end of the year, all those actions don't appear anywhere because
Mm-hmm.
there is no a
Yeah,
box
yeah. There's they can't really be tracked in
psychological
the
support
standardized
helping.
feedback forms and stuff. Yeah.
And that is so frustrating. I mean, it's one of the most important, let's say,
Mm.
service that you can do in a team of people. People notice, they are recognized, are very grateful. But then in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
in the business or in this kind of professionality, how offices, most offices working, then this is become again invisible.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's definitely the invisible labor. And then if you have external strategizers, optimizers coming in, those are most likely the professions that will be cut out the first because, oh, they haven't done anything.
Exactly. But also then to take, again, I would say in this sense, to take responsibility and say, hey, this week or this month, I spent so much hour trying to support my colleagues. It's not a feeling, it's hour. I can tell you what happened.
Mm,
Check with the other person. I want this to be recognized because this
mm-hmm,
is a service very important and I give
mm-hmm.
it to this office or to this
Yeah.
environment for people to work. But it's so uncomfortable for women to say, hey, this is what I did. Men are much better on that. They
Yeah,
also
they have other
put in
challenges.
front
Yeah.
action that they didn't do. They just delegate and
I'm just. Yeah, yeah. That's the same thing when I don't know, the job description. If you apply for a job, the job description is like men they fit like 70% they apply, and women have to feel like there's 100% match, and then they're gonna apply. It was like, yeah. But I want to come back to something which is really, really important. A lot of us don't take enough time to realize going into a change process will cause friction and will be uncomfortable. Any change will be uncomfortable. And I don't know, at least in my experience, I didn't really sit down and think about how the change process will make me feel. I just know, oh, this is my goal. I know this goal will make me feel XYZ about myself. And then I started the process going towards that. And I felt like shit. I was like, nah, not gonna do it. Like, I feel this shows up for us as a collective, as a society, and it translates down to our very personal, like, bodies. We, I feel we have such a low tolerance of dealing or being at peace with unpleasantness,
yes,
right? And
yes,
but it's a weird duality at the same time. I can take on so much shit. I can be a martyr of 1,000 things, and I have zero tolerance for unpleasantness. Like,
I,
why? How, Michelle? Like, make it make sense.
if I may reformulate, I don't think I mean, depends on which kind of unpleasantness. Because
Yeah.
if your son, your friends, your clients are going through a tough period, you don't have any problem in being there for them, feeling with them, supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
No problem. It is often our own unpleasantness. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's because we feel wrong. We feel that something
Oh.
is not
Mm.
okay in us,
Mm-hmm.
and then our system does something like panicking. If I want to go there and I feel not good, it means that something is wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
We often turn it that we are the problem, that we
Mm-hmm.
don't legitimate what we are feeling, and then if something is unpleasant, it means that we are wrong, not then is normal.
Mm-hmm.
Not then is part of developing resourcing in order to.
Mm-hmm.
So the first time I go and ask for a rise of my salary, maybe I do it really bad because
Mm-hmm.
I'm tense and then I'm angry
Yeah, the stuttering
and then the guy
nervous
say
breakdown.
no. And then what I do?
You
Ah,
never ask again because it was a bad experience.
then no, we need to say, ah, fuck, this was unpleasant. Maybe I didn't do so well. And he blah, blah,
Mm.
blah, or she blah, blah, blah. What I do? 6 months, I go again. And then I prepare.
Yeah.
Then maybe I
Yeah,
will,
you take the data, you see what you can change, and do
yes.
again.
And one part of the data is to say, is really, really uncomfortable. It's really tough to ask for something.
Mm-hmm.
It's really difficult to say, hey, I'm so good, I deserve this. Please recognize.
Mm-hmm.
And is like many other things, we need practice to learn how to do it well.
Hmm.
So
So how
we
can
want
we
to do a
learn
change.
to
It's like running the marathon. I mean,
mm,
I don't recommend to run marathon
good,
for
thank
my
you.
clients.
I was like,
Then,
we're not runners here.
but for the clients that do this, when they train, you do exactly this. You start.
Mm,
And you start small and then a bit
yeah.
long, and then break, and then you have a strategy. But with muscles and the, let's say, the inner muscles is the
Hmm.
same. We need to train in order then the body can
Yeah.
adapt, learn. Ah, okay, this is a bit too much. This is
Hmm.
okay. Ah, what is my strategy also? What
Yeah.
is my way of asking, of saying no? Not everybody is the same.
Hmm. I also think our ego overestimates how small we have to go with practicing our muscles, right? I'd say most of us, if we're like, let's stick with the running example because we're like, oh yeah, I can run a kilometer in I don't know how many minutes. And then we actually do it and we realize, nah, far off. We need to start with running 400 meters, 300, 200, 100. Like, how how do we know if something is if an action is too small or too big? Like, how can we where do we find the balance of challenging ourselves enough so the muscle grows and not picking a too small goal so we just feel good but don't grow?
My friend, unfortunately, only experience will tell you.
I hate this. It's always a you learn by doing. Yeah, I know. Okay, one
Because
of those
for
things.
for everybody is different. This is the danger now, because I whatever I'm saying, it would be wrong,
Yeah,
because depends of people. Some people are more, let's say, they have more energy, they're a bit more, let's say,
yeah.
tough. They can take things and they enjoy and they fight. Other are very delicate and they are very sensitive. You see,
Hmm.
it depends.
Yes, love this answer.
But you can say, if I would like to have more energy, I would like to feel more alive, I would like to have more satisfactions, very basic. I would like to be recognized. I would
Hmm.
like to have more time. You can try to have aspect, then you can measure, then you can recognize, not just I don't know, not only air, something that
Hmm.
you can measure. I would like to have more time for resting, cooking, holidays with my friends, a
Hmm.
sport, whatever. And then you will see if this is appear or not. I would like to be recognized at work. You will see if this is appear or not.
Hmm.
I would like my partner to be a bit more sensitive with whatever, and then you will see if this is appear or not.
Yeah.
I would like not to consume all my time in doing stuff, and then you will see if you manage and how you manage.
Hmm.
But you can recognize after by observing the results.
Yeah.
Then sometimes small steps will be very, give a lot of energy back, and sometimes not. This is also not individual. I mean, we are not alone. We are all in
Hmm.
connection with other people
Hmm.
and situations. So we have really to be humble in the fact that we can do certain things, but the condition around us also have a big impact on us.
Oh, yes, of course. We are a product of all the conditions we're in as well.
But this is also difficult because the mind would be more at ease with things that are easy to calculate. And now we are talking about things that are not so easy to calculate, and you need to really pay attention to a broad spectrum about
Hmm.
feeling well, being more satisfied, having more time are objective things, but are not so objective actually. It's not so easy to determine.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's also interesting because it requires us to be more attentive to, okay, what is my assessment now?
Hmm.
And yesterday and tomorrow and so on and so on. And then we will start to perceive changes or to see changes.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's very, very concrete.
Oh, yeah, it can be very concrete very fast. And sometimes it takes longer. But
Yeah.
I think this is a really crucial piece. We, again, yes, there is no playbook. And to see the liberty in this, like, it really comes down to you need to know yourself, and you already do. Maybe you have to kind of reconnect with yourself, but you already know yourself, which is also a very good thing if ever anyone tries to sell you shit you don't need. um but yeah, really this crucial thing um of pausing and getting in touch with yourself again. And I know you only said it, I think, 2 or 3 times this conversation, the word breathe, which, funny enough, you don't know this, listeners, but when in my sessions with Michelle, she always interrupts me with, and now we breathe. Because I'm like, so I know breathwork is a very one of your very preferred modalities, if I can say this. Um, is there? Can you walk us through one of your favorite breathwork exercises that we can do to, I don't know, slow down even when we're super busy and kind of like see how we're actually feeling and what we're actually needing?
Yes. I would be very happy to do this. Let me just say something about breathing because I'm so passionate
Please,
about
please
this.
do. Please
Because
do.
of course everybody breathe is for survival, but actually breathe can do much more for us and for everybody. Because as Jennifer mentioned, it is a very practical way to slow down, is a very practical way to feel the body. If you breathe and then you notice you don't feel anything, now you know then there is something that is not okay. If you breathe and you notice you cannot breathe deep, beside the survival thing, you know then you are too tense. It gives us so much basic informations. It is amazing. And then if you keep doing whatever exercise, there are, I mean, million. If you practice yoga, there are even more. It will change the way you are in the body just because of expanding while inhaling, and then when you breathe out the volume reduces. Like you do a massage inside you. It's
Mhm.
very, very efficient. If you don't have any time to do anything, this will make a difference. It is proven. I mean, it's not coming from me. If you
Yeah.
read a bit researcher about recovering from surgery or from whatever, it is very practical. I mean, you have people meditating. Basically, they focus on breathing in a certain way. There are several
Yeah.
techniques. And these allow, I mean,
You need new
incredibly,
oxygen to replenish and
and
move
they allow incredibly
water.
also spiritual experiences.
Hmm.
So if you this is one part. And the second, because we were talking about basically how to be in the body means to welcome uncomfortable experiences.
Hmm.
Breathing is the very basic way to say, okay, now I will breathe with my anger, my frustration, my pain, my sense of being
Hmm.
not evaluated, not recognized. And then for a moment, I give myself this gift to, I welcome this part of myself that normally doesn't have space
Hmm. To be.
to be. Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, this is probably where you wanted to go.
So
Yes.
actually, the breathing exercise that I would like you to practice require a bit of preparation. So if you agree, I would recommend two breathing exercises.
Sure.
The one is really very easy, and it's
Love that.
just to breathe in and breathe out, counting until 4. And the idea is that if you count, the mind will be a bit busy in counting and not in
Hmm.
doing 3 million of other things.
Okay.
And then it is a way to focus a bit more on on the breath. And then because you count until 4 and you try to do it as low as possible, it will make your breath a bit deeper and slower.
Mm-hmm.
Because often when we breathe in survival mode is a bit superficial and fast, and
Shallow.
this
Mm-hmm.
signalate a state that is close to stress.
Mm-hmm.
So we
Yeah,
want
makes
to
sense.
now to send messages to everybody. Now is a moment, is okay.
We're
Whatever is
safe.
happening, we take the moment.
Yeah.
Breathe in and to breathe out. So we can practice 2 minutes together. You can close your eyes and
Yeah.
breathe
Just
in.
before this, I'm curious, is the in breath also 4 or longer as 4 or shorter or
In, out, 4.
okay, 4. Okay.
Yes. Easy.
Yeah.
This
Easy.
is warming up. So you can try to sit with a straight back,
Mhm.
or if you lie down, and try to have a straight back, an open chest, relaxed shoulders. You can close your eyes. And then you try to breathe in, counting until 4, and breathe out, counting until 4. And you keep doing this. With the aim to take the time to inhale and exhale
Mhm.
quite long or longer than usual and slower than usual.
Mhm. For me, it really helps me to visualize my lungs expanding, my belly expanding, and this is some will be like now, well, Chen, of course, but what was really interesting for me was that the lungs obviously don't just expand to the front, but also to the back. And in my head, it was always just to the front and not really to the back. So if you're like, huh? Try to visualize this at some point. It's mind blowing.
But it's a very practical way of being because you have a physical experience, then it means then your body is much more present just by the fact that you can feel the
Mm-hmm.
three-dimensionality,
Mm-hmm.
the movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, listen and try visualize you actually breathing in 3D, which you are.
And for some people like you, it will bring something in the mind. For other people, would just calm it down. Depends
Mm-hmm.
a bit what kind of type you are. For some people, breathing will be very much connecting with colors.
Oh, interesting. Mm-hmm.
I'm a very physical person. For me, is always connecting with physical sensations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For
Yeah, I get
other
that.
people, maybe if you practice meditation, you will have this kind of a sense of the waves coming and going.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly you have the noise of the ocean in your ear.
Mm.
It really depends what kind of
Just
type
to
you
say
are.
kind of like all is good. You
Hmm?
don't all is good, right? It is what is, right? It's not
Yeah.
good or bad if you feel more attuned to your body or to colors or to whatever, that's okay.
Yes.
It's
My recommendation would be sure that you feel something physical inside your body, then you are not completely in your head.
mm-hmm.
Just because of the topic of being a body and being
Yeah.
unsure inside yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah, is a self-discovery is what are your resources, what is working for you.
Would you like to share the
I can
other?
tell you some people, you ask them to count in their mind, they have a crisis. You don't have to count if it doesn't work for you. You can have a sense of time connecting with inhaling, and a sense of time connecting with exhaling. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose always modify any exercise so you feel it suits you best.
You can rebel.
Yes, yes. No, I'm fine with counting. It keeps my mind occupied. I actually quite like the counting.
So this would be a warm up to
Mhm.
expand a bit and to warm up the muscles. And the one exercise that I find very practical for several reasons is the one where we breathe in 4, we breathe out 6, and then we hold 8.
Mhm.
It seems a bit strange, but actually it is not so difficult. And the idea is to change the ratio between oxygen and CO2 in our body. So actually, oxygen is always at the same quantity. I mean, we cannot do without. But when we breathe out and we stay a bit and we hold, we consume more the CO2. I'm not a scientist, as you
Yeah,
see.
me
I'm
neither.
not
I'm
sure there
like,
is a good enough explanation, but I can give better references. So sorry for that. But, and then it has an effect on relaxation, on stress management, on calmness in the head.
yeah.
It's a very efficient exercise.
Okay.
We
So
can try
we
to do
breathe
it
in
together.
for 4.
In 4, out 6, hold in 8.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's do 2 rounds of that and see.
Okay.
So we give everyone a chance to kind of like practice it too, if you're listening in. Because otherwise, you're like, oh, this is such a cool exercise. I will listen to this podcast episode again when I need it, and you'll never do. That's why we're doing it now.
And this exercise, you don't do it if you are driving. Only
Yes, okay, yes,
sitting.
okay, yes, of course. If you're driving, operating heavy machinery, or I don't know, see your kids playing with scissors, don't do it right now.
Because depends, it can also give some strange sensations in the head. So you just do it when you are, you know, then you are relaxed.
Okay, that's your only excuse. Otherwise, if you're not doing any of those things, you got to join us now.
So 2 rounds.
Yeah,
So
I'd say.
we breathe in, 4, out 6, hold 8. In 4, out 6, hold 8. One more. In 4, out 6, hold 8. In 4, out 6, hold 8. You can breathe freely.
This was an interesting observation while holding the 8. Yeah, that was really interesting.
It also has an effect in a certain way on resilience because it's very strange for the body if you are not used because of sport or physical activity. It's very strange for the body to hold when is empty.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, something is not okay, but it's possible. We can do it,
Mm-hmm.
and is really giving the some kind of confidence that we can do it. It has really an effect then in our also in our mental resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Yeah,
really recommend to practice this.
it's really the word I was trying to I was looking for, resilience, because the first time I told it the eight, I was really like, it felt going against the grain. Like it was really hard. Like I'm like, no, no, I'm like, I need to breathe. I'm like, I can't, I need, and then it's really like, oh, okay, the eight is, it's gone. It's, and it's, yeah, it's, I see that it can really be a great exercise for resilience. I
And
didn't,
again, you don't have to force anything. If you
yeah,
feel not okay, it means then you need to practice a bit more. And you can
yes,
always adapt the numbers. You can also have 4, 4, 4, and then you
yeah,
know then you can expand.
yeah. This is the only, exactly, this is the only thing that is, this is telling you. Like, okay, maybe you need more practice. It doesn't, it's not, it doesn't tell any other story.
Mm.
Yeah. So, Michelle, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us and sharing those two very practical exercises with us.
My pleasure. I'm really for me this is a so important topic. I'm very happy to share it. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And
And
we have one more thing. You, where can people find you if they want to hear more of you, if they want to work with you? Where can people find you?
so I'm based in Zurich. I also give sessions online. Thank you, the Corona time. And online or my praxis in the Schaffhauserplatz. And I'm really very happy to offer a first session to people coming from this podcast as a
Oh,
way to thanks you and to thanks everybody that is interested to explore more what it means not only having a body but being a body. And you find me at bodylearning.ch or Michelle at bodylearning.ch.
okay. We will link that in the show notes. And thank you so much for your generosity. I will, yeah, if anyone wants to discover how it's like working with Michelle, yeah, say, mention the scenic route, and uh, she will offer this discovery session. Thank you so much. That's so generous.
No, really my pleasure. I need to
So
really
I hope
spread
many
more
people will
this.
take you up on this. So Michelle, again, thank you so much for being on the scenic route with me.
Thank you. Thank you very much.